There, Rock Team coming at you again. I believe Extreme Evolution, pulling, opening, good stuff. Waited 30 seconds this time. Starting to learn some things. At least for me, when going back and watching for myself on YouTube, what I guess would then be considered a rebroadcast of this live feed. It seems as though at least for the first 30 seconds, if not sometimes a little bit longer, almost the first 90 seconds, on my end, it's garbled. It kind of jumps a bit with the audio, and I'm not necessarily going to pretend as though I gave any amazing information in the first 90 seconds of the two that I've done the last 2 days. Actually, technically, there was a third one in between those two when I tried to do this and hadn't gotten the 24 hours yet, and kind of assumed that, and so it was just a trial run. I think I don't even know. I mean, I've gone back and watched them, and I was slightly entertained. Even though I know they're not actually entertaining, but I was entertained because it's my stuff, I guess. But yeah, it's not necessarily saying that there was, I don't know. I went back and watched, and so and then I just left it there. I said I was going to take each one of them down after they've been up for a maximum of 24 hours, and I haven't done that. Although, as I mentioned in, I think the last two that I did, the first one got banned in most countries because I allowed the games, quote unquote, NHL soundtrack music to play, and that upset the spider bots that sought out their copyrighted music and got those banned, and have then switched to this, the quote unquote NHL theme, and haven't had that problem. So I think we're good there. Also, yeah, and so I just wanted to say that, and I don't know why I took 3 minutes to, well, 2.5 minutes to say that. That was the reason why there was 30 seconds of dead air in the beginning. It wasn't as though I was waiting for somebody to actually join on this channel that it's not even really all that public yet, doesn't really exist. It might have probably 2 or 3 subscribers now. And for some strange reason seems to have 5 views on average before I go back and view it, despite only getting I don't think ever more than 1 person listed on the thing during the broadcast, even on the one that went way too long, 45 minutes. And at this rate, 4 minutes in, having not done anything of value, we could get that long, because we are intending to do quite a bit here today. The focus is right here. That's why we're starting on this screen. Only we have enough here that we could do more than just the 3 extreme evolution packs that are allowed per day. Just meaning we could bump into these, the premium and the mini, or I mean, even for that matter, pull these regular ones, which I'm just going to scroll over because I haven't been in here since yesterday. I just want to make sure that they're not adding anything. I just have to imagine anything that gets added is going to get added as special packs on the left side, and I'd be able to see it from this part of the screen. They wouldn't really have to scroll over to search those. But that would be, especially if they only did that for like 3 or 4 hours, especially this time of night, which is more like early morning for those of us in North America. I think that'd be pretty cool. I mean, they'd basically be EA trolling us a little bit, but at the same time, I think it'd be really cool because it's like, who would ever see that? Why would you ever be looking over there and nobody's up this time of the night, which is why you have a chance to do auction house if you're going to be up in these kind of crazy hours. So that means that you could take those cards that during the regular part of the day, are going for like a massive 4,600 coins, which you can see from my screen here. You know, I at that price, geez, you know, I'd be able to get about 3 if I was lucky of those at that price. So no, you know, instead I'd have to go on now, try to get them when they're much lower and there's less people coming at them. You can snipe those things for, man, I don't know, like, you know, like 4,400, 4,450, maybe even 4,500, and then, you know, just wait 12 hours until everyone's up and then sell them at 4,500. And it's you know, that's flipping. You know, I mean, it's really, it's, you know, it's a lot of art, as well as you know, skill and math. And you know, I don't expect all of you to have you know, an MBA in financial analysis and investments like I do. You know, to be able to get these really nuanced things that, as you can see from my screen here, you know, I understand you're going to be jealous looking at that. You don't have a team that is 79 or higher overall. You don't have 13,700 coins or more. And honestly, that's not my fault. This series is not to teach you how to improve on the economics of the game. You know, I don't know if I'd be able to school you enough, you know, in the approximately 28 days that this game will still be played by most people before they ditch it and move on to potentially something else, or just 6 to 8 months of broadcasting on YouTube, bitching and complaining about how much they hate this game. All, you know, always including game content that was recent in those videos, of course, and then doing, you know, the right after that, the previews for the next year, especially if they're you know, say like on Xbox and EA access, and get access to the beta. You know, and then can do that for a number of months leading up to the launching of the game, with you know, sort of this irrational exuberance, as you know, people prior to Greenspan used to say, and then it's now supposedly his thing. You know, all then to then just recycle through the whole thing and either be excited for about the first 5 or 6 days of the game, or just start at the very beginning of it and then bitch more, or, as I said, be excited for about 5 or 6 days and then bitch, and then again, you know, play the game for a maximum of 28 days and then ditch it completely, except for when creating content for YouTube, bitching about the game that includes a lot of game content. So that's the cycle, and that's, you know, that's just kind of what you have to be able to expect. So I should restart this. This is so stupid. 9 minutes and 15 seconds in. So these, I'm not. It should be fairly obvious just from the last 9 minutes, or from the any of the previous ones. I don't even, honestly, as I said, I don't even know how many were up or are still up. 2 or 3 probably at most of these. You know, I'm not a comedian. You know, I don't do that for a living, and I don't actually have a sense of humor. So I do these things like this because it's funny to me. And that's, you know, you gotta play to your audience. And if you look at those numbers on the right side there, you see there's no one in the room and there are no comments. So I am the audience. However, it's 10 minutes in and I'm not really feeling it. It's not that funny, not that enjoyable. So we will move on. Another part of the problem is I had a really rough day, and I am tired beyond the level of being tired, and so that's going to be problematic in trying to get everything that I want to get done in this live broadcast. But again, got to do it live, so you guys can all see, you know, yes, we did last night, on the fourth card of the first Extreme Evolution pack, did happen to pull just a regular, nothing special, Sidney Crosby. So that, it's fun. And other stuff was gained last night. Other stuff was gained the night before. Typically more in terms of stuff that you're able to trade in. I did at some point have enough of the Evo collectibles, and as I mentioned in the last broadcast, I did go ahead and select the Taylor Hall out of the options that I had, which were I don't feel like going through all of them right now, but I did say at the very bottom of this, and I did not bother to look at how many Evo collectibles I have in the collection prior to starting this, because again, I'm super tired, just really messed up right now and not paying attention. But I did at least think enough about it for 2 seconds right before broadcasting to add it to the bottom of the description that we will do that. I will at least attempt to see if we get enough Evo collectibles to do the trade-in, because we had some from the last one yesterday that weren't up to 10. So that top tier pack is what we would do right now, because I mean, they got 12 and a half days of this left. So should be able to do some of those lower packs. And maybe it's just me, I don't know. In terms of getting a card that has a base value equal to the game, that it's at any point technically in the next year, but I don't know. I would imagine there's a possibility those things can get updated even after a full year the game has been out, but who's playing at that point, right? So if you're going to take a player who's starting with any base overall and then kind of quote-unquote gamble on that person having something happen to them as you see at the bottom of their screen, best IRL season, in real life, in actual hockey, the real NHL, not this game, not saying anything bad about the game, just saying there's a difference, obviously, between the sports simulation as opposed to the actual sport. So if that player whose pack you have has good production, or does other stuff, I guess, that gets EA, I don't even know if they have to do it in conjunction with the NHL or if they have autonomy on this, to decide to release some form of a special card for that individual with boosts, buffs. So real quick, as an example of stuff that's out there right now, you could take a base card which has these. I know there's 5. I messed this up last time too. I don't know if it's a 5 or 6, because honestly I don't really care. I really only would want the 85 John Tavares at this point, and I'll get to that in a second. Because I've thought that the whole time. The other ones are just kind of much lower in terms of their overall, and I know that I'm saying the complete opposite at the exact same time as what I was saying before, which was there's 2 different things. There's the things that you can get from these packs as far as evolution players. I believe even with the kind of new week starting right now, there's still only going to be the 5 of them that you could get from the packs, and yeah, as I said, I mean, I'm really just looking for the 85 John Tavares and none of the rest of them, but I would take basically any of them because they all have the potential and a good likelihood of increasing at least slightly in value. And then the other thing is there's 5 separate of trade-in packs where you give the evolution collectibles as a trade-in, and then you get to pick from the 4 that they randomly put up on the screen out of the 6 that are in that pack. You get to pick one of those players in exchange for that trade-in. And even though the Evo collectibles they're not super abundant, you can't trade them, so you can't buy them from somebody else if you're doing this legitimately, which I am, so I don't know any other way to do it other than through the game. So it's not, at least in my opinion, it's not as if they're like completely overflowing or whatever. Actually, now that I say that, That's not true at all. You actually absolutely can buy and sell the Evo collectibles on the auction house, and people are at least offering them. I think I've only seen one or two that actually had a current bid on any of them. But that gets back to the point that I actually don't really know what I'm talking about on most of any of this stuff. And that was kind of the fun part for me, going back and listening to even just last night's, which especially towards the kind of the last 2/3 of it, where I was mostly just rambling as I'm doing now, said like a bunch of stuff that was wrong. I think like I think I might have meant Evgeny Malkin at one point and said Kuznetsov, or vice versa. I think I got Nieuwendyk right. Totally couldn't say Yari Curry's name correctly. Those are just name stuff though, right? But I also was half joking because I knew the price had gone down, but I didn't know off the top of my head exactly how dramatic of a price drop it was. That when I pulled the Crosby, I joked that it had just said that one card had suddenly paid for this whole process because it was worth a minimum of 500k coins, even though I wasn't intending to sell it, being that it was my only one that I had and I wanted him on the team. However, I knew watching it back that wasn't the case, and I was kind of joking around, and I knew it had gone down a little bit in value when I had seen it before. But geez, man, looking at it earlier, quote unquote, today, which was at least 6 or 7 hours ago, it seemed as though you could basically get that card for like almost a max of 150k. Looked like the Ovi, which I was also joking that I was suggesting I was going to get that as well, and I don't have and did not get. That seems to be going for a little bit more, more like, well, not much, like maybe 170, 75, 180k. So still holding a little bit more value, but both just really killed. I mean, people absolutely did pay like more than one person in the total game, whether it's on the PS4 side or the Xbox side. More than one person on both of those sides since this game has come out absolutely has paid 1 million coins for both of those cards. I'm not saying the same person bought both cards for 1 million coins, but I've seen it happen. So unless that's just auction house hacking or attempts at artificially inflating the market prices, those trades went down. They were in my wish list just because or watch list, I'm sorry, just so I could track and see what they eventually went for, and they did. They did sell for that much. So that was a thing, and it's very much not now. So they're now at, if you bought it at that price then and sold it, I don't even know what you could sell it at this present moment, but if you sold it 6 hours ago, you were not going to get even 15% of what you paid for it back. Okay, so what's the point? Two totally different things here, for me at least. Yes, I'm going to go for top tier if I get enough collectibles. Already got the Taylor Hall. The 4 out of that potential 6 that I got did not include Panarin or Subban, and I was basically going to pick Subban, and then I was going to have to probably try to make a decision between Panarin or Taylor Hall. And the other ones are great as well too. So I mean, it would have really been a choice. I was just automatically going to assume the way to go was Subban. And so yeah, I mean, I'm kind of, spoiler alert, giving it away. If we do get to that point, I'm probably just going to take the Subban. But that is the question at the bottom of which of these 4 has the best in real life season, and it's kind of the overall point, because expectations are that should be the best card that we get throughout this entire process, is if we can get to a point of getting enough collectibles to do the top tier trade in and have a selection of the 4 that they pop up. Because I don't think, off the top of my head, I mean, I'm almost 100% positive that they're all 80 and above overall on the base. But again, that's the weird thing for me, is that I want the top tier for sure. I think they could end up being, they're good cards to start with. The Taylor Hall, I have happy to have him on the team. It's a good card to start with, and then it's going to go up from there. It's almost a guarantee. He's just too good of a player. But I guess the way I would think about it is the not, it's not like ROI, but like the incremental increase that that it is. Oh, hey, somebody's here. Feel free to drop a comment so we see your name, because I can't see anything. I was just trying to explain my thought process of which ones I would go for on the. And sorry if you've been here for a minute, I didn't notice until just now. But which ones I would go for on the trade-in packs, assuming we get to that point, and the fact that I've already picked the Taylor Hall. It's just that, if you're starting with the card, we got 2 in here now. Great, awesome. I think that is definitely a record. Maybe just babble for 21 minutes and ramble, and we'll get more people in the future. So for me, if you start with a card that's got a base of 80 to 85, and then we just lost one. So there we go. Guess I should not talk at all or mention the fact that people are even in here. You start with a base of 80 to 85. The Taylor Hall's an 85. And then you can increase from there. I don't, and then we lost both. Awesome. So, I am very good at this. So I'll just keep saying what I was saying though. But so I don't think this is going to be a Madden situation, even though it's the same developer. I don't think that there's going to be cards above 99. From the very beginning of this game, they tried to entice us with the legends that, people are upset are only the alumni to become legends are only available through the HUT series and not through other game modes such as franchise or even, I don't know, be a pro or whatever, or even ones. I don't know. There's other things there's other game modes you can play, and those players and those cards are just not there. And so far, that doesn't really bother me all that much. Maybe a little later, I don't know. But point being, from the beginning of the game, they've been trying to entice us with the 2 legends that you can eventually get through the legend collectibles, which I have to feel are the most valuable, at least currently in the game, and maybe over the whole duration of this year of the game, is the legend collectibles over any other type of collectibles. And it's 45 of those to be able to trade in for. If you only have 45, you have to pick one or the other. 99 overall Wayne Gretzky or 99 overall Mario Lemieux. And because those don't exist, I don't have a way of knowing the stats on those cards. I don't know if it's just like a straight 99 in every single category, which would be pretty boss. I mean, it's obviously a super OP card, but that's kind of a goal, right? You got to set goals, and they set that up from the beginning. And so it would just seem really strange for me, but I'm new to this, so I guess maybe it wouldn't be new for EA to do it. They've done it in other games like Madden this year, to then release cards that are above 99, or even to make it crazy like they've done in this game in years past that I have seen, with basically flooding the market with a bunch of different 99s. Okay, so with that in mind, all I'm saying is, right now, yeah, while we still got 12 days, I'm going to see how many collectibles I can get and go for those top tier trade-ins for now. But I don't know, just for me, I'm less interested in tier 2 and tier 3 than I am in tier 4 and tier 5. And specifically, in 4 and 5, I want Darlene and I want Middlestat. I feel like that's, if it was an actual market, if these things were like stocks or whatever, if I had to pick a current price or value on those cards with an expectation of what ROI and what I could sell it for in the future, it would lose a little bit less value, kind of in the same way that pardon me, that like betting on betting on McGregor has historically done. I didn't pay any attention at all to the odds going into what was technically last night's fight, even though it's now 2 dates later, because we're into the next morning now. But that's a unique sort of situation, just because generally the entire country of Ireland bets heavy on McGregor, no matter who he's fighting, and no matter what the odds are. So his odds are always skewed, and therefore, what you could potentially win by betting on him is going to have a lower EV or expected value than it ought to, based on the things that you would normally factor into it. And so just sort of in that sort of sense, I would think it'd be not as extreme and crazy as that, but it'd be similar, that everybody else, in my opinion, should be having the same expectation that as far as potential, Dahlin and Middlestat have to probably have the most, at least in terms of like total number of ratings points that they can increase. I mean, Dahlin's base card is a 78. It's not a bad card, but just the fact that as an Evo, that card that you get right now simply for trading in, I don't remember. Honestly, I forget which one is in tier 4 and which one's in tier 5, but it doesn't matter. And one of them is 2 collectibles, the other one's 4. That's like nothing. But then you have to get, I guess, a little lucky if you only do it once with the RNG, to ensure that you get the 80% chance, approximately 4 out of 6, that they would be one of the 4 of those 6 in those packs that you would have as a choice, and then go ahead and choose them. But yeah, 78 to 99 is a much bigger leap. It's a much greater percentage increase, as well as just overall points. And so for me, when it comes to these Evos, that should really be the whole point, is you should be making a decision not necessarily based off of where that player is at that particular time that you get it. And so, even though I did say before, and I'm saying it again now today, if I get any of the Evo cards that come from these packs, I obviously want the John Tavares, but it's not because I think that his 85 is a sweet card. I don't even remember. I'm trying to think if I even have the regular card. I should probably get more sleep before doing stuff like this in the future, now that we're half an hour in and I haven't done anything yet. But that's not really the point for me. I don't think you should be choosing these particular cards based off of where they're at now. It's like the opposite of the point of the card, which is that you're kind of making a bet on the potential that player has to increase their rating, which increases their value over the course of the NHL season, and technically for the next year until the next game comes out. Again, even acknowledging, though, the fact that the vast majority of players, the game dies for them within the first month. So, having said all of that, that's just why I would think, Dahlin and Middlestat, as players in general in the actual real hockey league, probably have almost the most potential of any 2 players out there. But they're not top 2. They're not 1 and 2. They're not. But they're up there. It's hard to get other players that, prior to this season starting and you getting a chance to now see maybe a few games of people playing in their first, in some cases, first games, whatever. Anyway, that's a tangent. We'll stop that. We'll get back to a little bit of an actual point here, which is just that they hold a lot of potential. And Middlestat's cover was an 80. I don't know. I should know. I don't think I have it. Maybe I did have it. Maybe I sold it. I don't remember. I cannot remember what his base card is, quite honestly. But I have to imagine it's in that range somewhere, 78 to 82. But yeah, I think there's a good chance that that if the only way to get 99 is Team of the Year, then okay, maybe none of those 3 that I mentioned, or even throwing Taylor Hall that I already have in there as well, any of those 4 players, Taylor Hall, John Tavares, Dahlin, and Middlestat, maybe none of those 4 make Team of the Year. And therefore, if that's the only way to get 99, then maybe none of them ever do. I don't know. But here's the thing. Tavares, coming into tonight's action, sure, a couple games, whatever, had not a big sample set, had 1 goal. I understand there's more stats than goals, even for forwards, right? But in tonight's game, spoiler alert, 7-6 win for the Leafs. over the Hawks in OT. A little crazy. 4 goals between the two teams, 2 apiece in the last 2 minutes approximately of game time. Basically, the last 90 seconds or so of regulation with extra attackers on both sides on the last 2 goals, one from the one team and then for the other, which is fun. And then OT, and then we're shortly into OT, game winner, game over. And in that process, Tavares had a hat trick. He had 3 goals. So sure, that's only 4 so far on the season, but it's an early season. And so I'm not the only one. There's some talk out there that if it wasn't for the fact that EA might not want to kind of, especially little series is still going on, and currently when I finally get 32 minutes in, I'm going to restart this, honestly. I really am going to restart it exactly as this is right now, and then I'll just leave this broadcast for people to listen if they give a crap about this part of it. But when I get to the actual pack polls, the 85 Evo Tavares is still in there, and as you see, that's going to be the case for the next 12 and a half days. Here, very early Monday morning in North America. Obviously, later in the day on Monday, other parts of the country, other parts of the world, definitely starting this over. So I'm not the only person that's thinking that if it wasn't just for the fact that EA probably doesn't want to, to, what would be the fun word to put in there, to kind of, not nudge, but like spike, I don't know, whatever, this whole process a bit early, that like before this ends in the next 12 and a half days, his Evo card should go up in value from 85. In my opinion, he already is making a case for making the next team of the week and having that 85 being 87. Now, I'd asked that question in the communities that I'm in, online is attached to the game. And the only response that I got so far was a suggestion that he could have a primetime card. Pardon me. Let me try to cough outside of the mic. A primetime card as early as I think they said tonight. And so my assumption there was that would also be a +2, and that since the base Evo is an 85, that suggests to me that his base card is an 85, and therefore the team of the week would be a +2 on top of the 85, making that an 87, which would make suddenly a team of the week available for him as an 87, but would also make the Evo turn into an 87. And because I'm very new to this, I don't know if what I just said is true, but I also don't know how that would actually work. Like if I go to pull this right now, he's still, that hasn't happened, so he's still an 85, right? But then if I go and pull this, let's say that tomorrow, a week from now, whatever, whenever Team of the Week comes out, the next one, is it Friday? I don't know. I should pay more attention to these things. When Team of the Week comes out, if he has a Team of the Week card and it's an 87, this is still going to be going on, and you could still come in here and pull the packs. It would seem, if they were to do that and give him a Team of the Week, or as the other person said, a primetime, which again, I have no clarification from that person, but I would imagine would also be an 87 overall card too, then they wouldn't pull him from these packs, right? It would still be that you'd pull it. And then the kind of weird thing for me, I guess, is when you pull it, like while it's being pulled, would it show up as an 85? And then you would add it to your collection? And then how long does the time take to like register and correct to be like, oh no, this card, his max value has now increased to 87, so his card is now an 87. Is that how it happens? For anybody that listens to this part, which I'm going to cut off and redo, which is insane because it's It's longer than the first 2 videos that I posted, and barely a little bit less than the extremely long, mostly ranting that I did after the fact of yesterday's. Is that how it works? I don't know. I really don't know. But because of that, as well as that being kind of like an expectation of mine that if it doesn't happen now, it'll happen soon. That just means to me that if you're whatever value you would place on his currently available cards, which are, as far as I know, only the base card and the Evo card, and as far as I know, both 85 overall. And maybe the Evo has slightly better stats on some stuff. I don't know. That wouldn't seem to make a ton of sense, but it could. I don't know. Actually, now that I say it out loud, I think it actually probably does a little bit, because the Taylor Hall that I have, I think it's a little bit better than the base Taylor Hall that I had before. I think I have no idea. I should probably find these things out before coming online and rambling about them for the whole world potentially to see that 5 people end up viewing. So yeah, so maybe it's the Evo card is slightly better than the base, but I think they're the same overall, 85, and that's the only versions of his cards that are currently available. And then I completely forgot what I was even trying to get at there. So I'm gonna cut this off. I'm gonna sign off. Take about a minute or 2. Come right back. Same screen, same descriptions. Although crap, I think I have to retype not all of it, but at least the description that I did before. And I may get super lazy and just choose to not do that at all. Need to like find a better way to get a keyboard or something and be able to like copy and paste. So yeah, sorry for completely wasting your time. That was a rant and ramble, and there might have been there were some thoughts, I guess, in there. Don't know any value at all in any of those thoughts, and don't know if any of it actually applies to this game, this sports sim, at all. But you know, that's how art works, man. It's going to be put out there to the world, so now it's for you to decide. Yep. So anyway, we'll restart in a couple minutes, and if you're getting to this point in this video and you haven't seen the next video that has come out, do that, because that one's going to actually have content, and because it's in the description of this one. But as I said, if I have to retype that whole thing, because I know a lot of it just carries over from one to the next, and you have to edit it you have to edit it if you want it different. But I think the description goes away, and it was lengthy. So in the last minute that I have here before I cut this off, I'll just state, even though it's in the description of this video, what the intention for the video is when we do it for real in a couple minutes, which is we're going to pull 3 of what you see right here, the Extreme Evolution packs. I'll do the whole thing and click on it and show and blah 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 what's in there, and then we'll do the run and do the pull, let the animations run, show what we pull. As far as, you know, being able to potentially get the 5 Evo players from the Evo packs, which I think we got 1 so far out of 6 or 9 of these so far. So that's kind of in line with the odds. I wasn't going to do the odds, but there's the odds. It's 2.5%. So yeah, you do 9 of them, you shouldn't get 1. So that's how it works. But I think we did get 1 lower end. I'm fine with it. It's cool. But I also think there's a good chance I didn't get any. Not the point though. Could potentially get 1 of those from the packs, but more so just grinding to get the collectibles. There are other ways to get them. You can just buy them from the auction house. As you see there, though, I am very low in coins, so I don't have the ability to just spend a bunch of coins in the auction house to buy them at what is probably higher prices than they ought to be, just as a guess. And then and then we would, assuming that we get 10, we'll do the top tier trade-in. If we have less than 10, I think I'm going to hold off as I did last night when we had less than 10. I'll hold off until we have that for now, and then towards the end of this whole series, I'll go with what I have. As I was rambling and mentioning earlier, I do have an interest in having either the Dahlin or Middlestat or both, and so if I have whatever it is, 2, 4, or 6, kind of left over after trying to get as much value as I can on the higher ends for things that you can sell for decent value currently, then yeah, I would look to get those towards the end of this series. That's at least my opinion. Luckily, I think for me, I have no problem saying these things and sharing them. I said I was going to do this for a minute, and it's now 5 minutes in. I have no problem sharing these things, and I feel like a lot of the people that have even 1,500 subscribers on their channel, let alone up to 10 times or more of that, I feel like they can't necessarily do those sort of things. They can't really get in and show you under the curtain of, they block a lot of cases on the screen, even like the rating of their team and their coins and their NHL points, etc. They don't want you to see those sort of things. In some cases, it even blocks how much time they have left before the daily rewards come up, which that seems weird. I feel like that must just be like, not that part must not be intended. It must just be that they were already blocking the other stuff and just happened to cover that as well. And then they probably don't want to give you advance warning what their plan is and what they're trying to accomplish, trying to sell. They're not going to say like, hey, I'm going to go into the auction house right now and I'm going to buy the base card of Jonathan Toews now that it is dropped down to whatever it is. Like, is it even 3K or less now? It's ridiculously low. Because I'm gonna do that, hundreds of times, because I expect that within a month or two, even though the base card can't increase in its rating, it will increase in its value in the market and go up to 5K. And because I've done it 100 times, that's X number of coins that I just earned. First off, I don't think that's going to happen in that specific example, especially with the market getting destroyed as these things progress each week anyways. But even if it was the case, those guys, and I would imagine girls, I haven't seen a lot of girls streaming YouTube NHL 19 videos. I feel like they can't really do that, or they don't want to, or whatever, just because, well, I don't know. Maybe because for them, in some cases, they might be in some super competitive seasons and other online play that they can't, sort of give away the secret sauce entirely to a potential audience of that many people. But I don't have an audience. My audience is myself. So say whatever the fuck I want. Toss that swear in there in the last seconds of this video. I'm gonna cut this off, stop it right now. And I suck so bad that I always forget the proper way to even hit the correct buttons to end this thing. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes, regroup, get even more tired, get even more of the exhaustion, silliness in my head, and then try to do an actual live demo as opposed to whatever the absolute fuck this was. Peace out.